I don't know what's up with this one. All right. So if we go to announcements, we can see what we were supposed to do today. Today is day 6 of business law. So we're not going to do activity 9, but we are going to review something that will allow us to kind of figure out activity 9. I'm going to go over the few things we just need to go over up here today, and then I'm going to give you the rest of the time to just work on any assignments from 1.01 that you've not done. We are going to start 1.02 tomorrow. I do have one kind of fun activity planned for the end of the week, and we will revisit that when y'all come back, not the next week, obviously, but when a week returns. We're going to do a mock trial, and I'm going to do it for both classes. We're just going to see how it goes, considering that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the other class is about 7 as well, so we'll just have to figure that out. But it'll be okay. So let's go ahead and kind of, you were supposed to watch this movie. I don't know if you did or not. We're going to go over some of the last parts of the movie then if you didn't, just to kind of review it. So raise your hand if you watched it. You're not in trouble if you didn't. Even if you watched part of it. Okay, no one finished it though. Okay, that's fine. We didn't finish it on Friday. Basically, Gideon gets arrested, right? He goes to jail. He wanted a lawyer. Did he get one? No. So his thing is he wants. There we go. We actually have someone in the Zoom meeting today. Wow. Crazy. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen now. So Gideon doesn't get a lawyer. He writes an appeal to the Supreme Court, and they decide to take his case. And they have meetings, which we talked about that first day when we watched some of those videos. Let's go see if we can find it.
I asked him for one. Gideon says that you've been in prison.
Here we go. See, they're having a meeting right now deciding if they're going to hear his case or not. So this is all the Supreme Court judges right here.
Slightest suspicion that this one time at least I was mistaken.
The rule we laid down in Betts was that a lawyer is constitutionally required only if to be tried without one amounts to a denial of fundamental fairness. We said that flexibility should govern us.
I felt then, and I feel now that we need an absolute rule. Right counsel may not be deemed an essential to a fair trial in some countries, but it is in ours.
And I think there's considerable danger formulating hard and fast rules which ignore qualifying factors and then imposing those rules on the states.
Okay, so again, basically you got two judges right now and they're arguing, do we need to hear this case or not? Betts versus Brady, combined Betts and Brady to make Brett's. Betts versus Brady decided that it was up to the states to decide on the exact interpretation on who gets a lawyer and who doesn't. I'm just going to turn this one out on the back so we can see what's happening. So they decided that, about 20 years ago, and they're revisiting basically the same court decision. Now, I know we talked about on those first days that we use case law in the United States. So once we have decided on something in the court, we usually go back to that decision. Right now, they're trying to decide, do we use case law or do we need to revisit that decision we made and, decide or not? It gets to the point in this scene that they're arguing about it so much that they decide we just need to hear it. If we can't decide in this room right now if we're going to hear it or not, it sounds like we have a very much of a hard decision and we need to hear it to make up these decisions. So they kind of decide to do that.
Their legislature. And if they believe that
basically they end up realizing, and what they'll end up realizing in the actual court case is the question of the following. What interprets your right to a lawyer. At one point, it was if you were illiterate that you need a lawyer. Well, Gideon here is not illiterate. He can read and he can write. So, but he still believes he needs a lawyer. Back then, he needed one, and by far today, with all the different types of laws and things we've written out since then, the law only keeps getting more complicated, honestly. So you need someone, honestly, to, be there to interpret those laws and understand those laws to help you when you're in a trial. So they decided that they're going to hear it.
This was a very simple case. Breaking and entering to commit petty larceny. And even a simple man, presuming Mr. Gideon is a simple man, something that may not be safe to presume at all, even a simple man can defend himself in a simple case.
But is it fair? Is it fundamentally fair? Petty larceny it may have been. A petty sentence it was not.
These are all extremely important questions to be decided if we hear the case. Is there any sense yet whether we ought to accept?
So they obviously decide to hear the case. So he has to be retried. Some people are actually, they decide to free them because Florida wasn't doing things the right way in the first place. And at the end, he finally gets another lawyer.
Inside the pool room in the early morning hours of the 3rd day of June, 1961. No. You're witness.
And we'll just watch some of the final court case, and we can move on from there.
Hadn't others operate the pool room for you on the case? Easily. Had Mr. Gideon worked for you? He's never on the payroll. But he operated it sometimes, didn't he? Well, occasionally. The $1.50 Mr. Gideon paid you for taking him downtown that night. Exactly how did he pay you that? With 6 quarters. And did he say anything to you about what you should answer, or if anyone asked whether you'd seen him that night? He said if anybody asked, I hadn't seen him. You're witness. That's fine. When Mr. Gideon got in your cab, what was his condition as to sobriety? What's that? Was he drunk or sober? He was sober. Did he have any wine on him? No, sir. Any beer? No, sir. Any Coca-Cola? No, sir. Did his pockets bulge? No, sir. Well, now, we have just heard what Mr. Gideon said. That if anybody asked, you hadn't seen him. Is that right? Yes, sir. Now tell me, had you ever had Mr. Gideon in your cab before? Yes, sir. And had he ever said that same thing to you? If anybody asked, you hadn't seen him? Yes, sir. Has he ever said why? Yes, sir. Well, tell the court what he said to you on those occasions. Well, Mr. Gideon had wife trouble, woman trouble on occasion. Well, haven't we all? What he said before was he didn't want anybody knowing his personal business. And that's why he didn't want you to let on that you'd seen him. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes. You may step down, Mr. Pike. Thank you. We call Clarence Earl Gideon to the stand.
Left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Do.
Seated.
Mr. Gideon, on the morning of June 3rd, 1961, did you break and enter the Bay Harbor pool room?
No, sir.
What was the purpose of your taking a taxi cab into town?
Get me another drink. We just robbed a bar room. I would have done that.
Where'd you get the money you had on you?
Gambling.
Oh. What kind of games did you play?
Mostly rummy, that and poker.
What kind of stakes did you play for?
Nickel, diamond, quarter.
Did you ever gamble with Lester Wade?
Sure, gambled with all those boys. Ask them.
Did you have any wine on
I don't drink wine.
you? Any beer?
No.
Any cocoa?
No.
Oh, one last thing. Mr. Stafford says that you used to operate the pool room for him on occasion. Is that right?
Yes, sir, I did.
How would you let yourself in for that purpose?
I had a set of keys for that purpose.
What do you say to this charge you've broken in at the Bay Harbor pool room?
Guilty of it. Know nothing about it.
You had over $25 in coins on you that morning when they arrested you, didn't you, Mr. Gideon? Why did you have all that money in coins?
Got as much as $100 in my pockets in coins.
Why?
Ever run a poker game?
You would carry $100 in coins around with you for days at a time?
Yes, sir. Excuse me for saying it, Miss Curtis, but I sure wouldn't leave in a room in the Bay Harbor Hotel.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
Yes, 5 times, including this one.
Lester Wade. Lester Wade. This probationer has been out at the dance drinking beer. He comes back, maybe a little drunk, and he walks up to stand outside the pool hall for an hour and a half waiting for it to open. He could walk 2 blocks home and sleep for 90 minutes or get a beer out of his icebox, but no, he'd rather just stand right there on that corner, walking back and forth for 90 minutes, looking in the window and being thirsty. And now, so it says, looking in the window, he sees Clarence Earl Gideon. Only he does a very peculiar thing. He doesn't call the police. He doesn't notify the owner. He just walks up the corner and he walks back. Why? I know why. And so do you. The beer had run out at midnight at Apalachicola, and Lester Wade and his friends were still thirsty. So what happened to the beer, the wine, and the Coca-Colas? I'll tell you what happened to them. They left out of there in that old model Chevrolet. Now, why was Wade standing on that corner, walking back and forth? I'll give you the answer. He was the lookout. What about Gideon? He comes out of his hotel, he goes to the telephone booth, he calls a taxi cab. It picks him up and takes him into town. Wade, standing guard, sees him. And now, when the police happen by, here's the perfect answer for Wade. He names Gideon.
$25 worth of change. It's a lot to carry in your pocket. But Mr. Gideon had $100 worth of change in his pocket. You believe that? You believe that other story you just heard? Lester Wade's not on trial here. There's been no evidence of any animosity by Wade toward Gideon. There's been no evidence that Wade and his friends took that view in mind. You have to go on the evidence in the case, not on speculation. You have to rely on the facts, and not on what some lawyer, like Mr. Turner, would like you to believe.
And your verdict to the bailiff. Philip will rise. Clarence Earl Gideon, the jury finds you not guilty. What is it, Judge?
What are you going to do now?
First thing is, I'm gonna track down my kids. And, well, for one thing, tonight I think I might like to the pool room. Somebody lend me $2. Thank you, Mr. Chris. Gideon? You feel like you accomplished something? Well, it did.
All right, so there's that. I want to show you kind of the process of a
November the 1st,
court
19...
case. We won't hear all that, but yeah. So you also saw a little bit of the process of a court case, because we watched the beginning of a court case, obviously on Friday with B Group. So you saw, there's the jury. We had the witnesses up. We saw that the plaintiffs had called a witness up, and then the defense asked questions. We saw the defense call a witness, and then the plaintiffs asked questions, and then we saw the closing arguments from both sides. As we saw, the plaintiff got to go last, and then the jury went out to make their decision, and they handed their decision to the bailiff, who then hands the decision to the judge. It's a very fine system. It has to go like that. This is how it works. So that is Gideon's Trumpet. The court case was Gideon versus Wainwright. It is a landmark case in the United States for the purpose of getting a lawyer and being able to have the right to a lawyer regardless of the case. The concern with that is the lawyer being provided. A lot of times there's someone who is assigned now in the court system to defend people who need a judge. So basically the government will pay that person. Sometimes other lawyers will do pro bono, which is for free, and they will just come into a court case and help the person out if they want to. So it is what it is. And obviously you can pay for a lawyer, and that's usually what a lot of people will do, is they'll get a lawyer and actually pay for one. So yeah, there's that. So go away just for a minute. Let me get a spot I can click on. Okay, so we're done with that. We want to go over real quick. What is it? What's wrong? I'm not seeing that. There's something in the chat. Sorry, I am late. The line at Bojangles was wild. That's okay, Nick. All right. As long as you're logged on, that's the main thing. So activity 9 is the last assignment you have in 1.01. And instead of actually making you do that assignment, we're just going to go over it together. So you're supposed to pick one of these. We're just going to talk about, we already talked about them a tad bit. We've got some videos to watch. So, oh no. Please tell me it's in my perfect. I was going to say that way. Okay, so we're going to watch a video of the FBI, training with U.S. Marshals, the DEA, Department of Homeland Security. Then we're going to watch the thing with State Trooper. I don't have anything for the local police department or sheriff's department, but I think you kind of have a full understanding on that. So this stuff is cool. Anyone ever watched that show called Quantico? Yeah, so this kind of goes over, and that show is actually somewhat accurate when it comes to the training facility and everything.
There's this mistake about being in the FBI. I know I questioned myself. Hey, am I good enough for this? Do I really think I can do it? And I think you need to just put that self-doubt on the shelf.
For some people, this is going to be a lifestyle. Many have not been in a situation where they've had to carry a weapon. They've never been in a situation where they've had to wear a tactical vest. They've never been in a situation where they've had to actually apprehend someone and take them into custody in a safe and effective manner.
On the first day, I assume like most folks who got here, everyone was really excited, but also a fair bit nervous. I had a decent idea of what to expect, but no idea who I was going to be training with, or what the environment was really going to be like on a day-to-day basis.
And you don't always remember everything about training. It's a long process, but you remember the first day. For me, the first day, there's a lot of uncertainty. I think with the people, but then there's also the uncertainty of, you have a general idea, I'm going to be an agent, but you don't have any idea what that really means.
I didn't really know what to expect when I first showed up. I've never done anything like this. You work so hard and you're actually finally here. It takes so long to get here, and then you get here and it doesn't honestly feel quite real.
There's a lot going on in these first couple of weeks. They're getting acclimated. They've just arrived. They've been introduced to their supervisors and their support team, which is counselors. They are getting their equipment issued to them, and we've put them in a situation where now they're residing in a dormitory setting with 49 other people that they don't know. It's a wide range of emotions, as you can imagine. Having experienced it myself, we got a bit of excitement. We're getting to realize the dream of becoming, especially the FBI.
Agents have to establish that they have an acceptable level of physical fitness to perform the job tasks associated with the job of a special agent. We validated tests that say basic exercises that would establish a level of fitness, and then sit-ups, push-ups, sprints, and a mile-and-a-half run. In order to effect a lawful arrest, you're going to need a level of fitness, and in order to avoid injury, to get through the academy, you're going to have to maintain a level of fitness.
On the day of the PFT, I think everyone was very excited and nervous right before the test. And before the test, everybody was trying to provide words of encouragement and support each other, much like going into a big game. I think our class rallied together and did that for each other, and you go out and you give it 100%, you put it all on the line, and we were successful with that.
10 of each year, U.S. Marshals go through intense.
Yeah, so I wanted to just give you a quick You know, it might not be a specific thing. I'm just trying to give you some kind of, you know, like that assignment you had, like what was the training, how do you become one, all that stuff. So I kind of give you a little bit of each one. Some of these videos show you the beginning process, like the FBI. Some of them show kind of how they train. Some of them show what they do on a daily basis. This one is actually quite interesting. I forgot what it was. There's something that actually kind of has this comicalness. Just wait, they chose a really interesting news guy to go do this. He's going to train with U.S. Marshals. Um, he's an interesting dude.
Training to sharpen their skills. And previously on our Fugitive Files, we've shown you the virtual simulator, but this one was even more challenging.
10 News anchor Ariel Wessler is joining us. They tried something a little different.
Yeah, they did, Steve Tim. It's unlike anything that I have done with the Marshals so far. In August, they took an old office space at their headquarters and transformed it into a new active training area. From using a taser to dealing with inmates, I got to suit up and try it out. Inside the Marshals headquarters in San Diego is an old office space, recently converted into a real-world training ground. And when we pulled the trigger, Dave Gibson and his team invited me to personally experience what deputies face in the field. Well, after 24 hours before we lead our trip, we could take. After learning some of the basics, pat this person down, it was time to tackle my first exercise, compliant and unruly inmates in the cell block. Comply. Here I'm playing the role of the cover officer, ready with my taser in case that dummy gets out of hand. If I've been in it 10 years, they may have one half more. Partner, taser. Taser. Then I swapped out my jacket for a bulletproof vest. Let's do this. And got briefed for the next exercise, entering the home of a fugitive. When I go in and say, partner, go left and do things that we will continue. We always got to knock it out. Please, good Lord, open up. We enter the room and my head is on a swivel. Everything happening so quickly. I can't see his hands. I'll see a knife right there. Right. Don't move, John. Partner, go left. I got him coming. Taser. But under pressure, I misfire, and only one probe hits it. You hear that? Yeah, that's a bad pose. If this were real, he'll be able to move. So I try again. Taser. Good. My ground, when we start reacting in any type of way, you can pull the trigger and lock him up again. Police! John, come on, got a warrant for your arrest. The final exercise tested my ability to de-escalate a situation. John! With your hands, John! In those hands, a noose. Listen to me. We're going to talk you down. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to help you. Yeah, John. Okay, what are you doing? But you lost it because of heavy drinking. People give you second chances sometimes, but killing yourself, you'll have no chance at all. You took your time. We don't want you to hurt yourself. You lowered your weapon. We don't want to kill you. It took me 4 minutes to safely talk him down. He understood that, and he felt that you were being genuine with him, and that's why he complied. That was my favorite exercise. As for that one, trainers tell me that some deputies actually take a more aggressive approach and tase the guy right away. They say he may fall and hurt himself, but at least he's still alive. So big thanks to those trainers for their patience with me. Either way, guys, I'm a stick with journalism. That's what that taught me, for sure.
You got to learn where everything is on adult because the first thing you did was go.
At one point, I had trouble getting out of the holster. It's like, how does it? All right.
That's when you might have been shot.
The interesting thing was the tase the guy who's about to hang himself. Like, just go ahead and tase him. As soon as you walk in the room, just tase him. So yeah. All right, yeah, he's an interesting guy. You know, going over there with the U.S. Marshals. This dude's very interesting too.
He says, I know that you are DEA. Men offered me $3 million if we turn him loose. Easy. And he says, wait a minute, and he starts to move away from the window, and I kick down the door. By this time, he's running through the open courtyard with a weapon in his hand, and he jumps over one wall. I peeked over the wall, and he was lying on his back, holding a weapon pointed up, and I was getting ready to shoot him when he says, don't shoot. He says, I can get out of prison, but I can't get out of a tomb. So we yanked him out from between the walls. He looked at me and he says, I know that you are DEA. And I just want to tell you that I had nothing to do with killing of Kiki Camarena, and then offered me $3 million if we turn him loose, and he would have that money within 20 minutes at the house. I would never take that money because it's blood money. And the fact of the matter is that, this is an individual that killed one of our own, and when that happens, we will move heaven and earth to capture these guys. That evening, we put him on a flight from Cartagena to Bogota. I'm sitting across the aisle from him, and he reaches out and puts out his hand and says, I want to congratulate you because people have been after me for 20 years, and you're the person that's been able to capture me.
Yeah, I don't know what that. It's a very random video. I don't know how I found it, but I really couldn't find any other videos on DEA, so it's my go-to for DEA stuff. This was made with iMovie, I'm pretty sure, but Department of Homeland Security, I guess, had more stuff going on with the video, so they just went to iMovie real quick.
Was a record-setting year with GSA officers confiscating more than 2,600 firearms nationwide.
I want to say how grateful I am to all law enforcement who worked to get, who brought their A game. In a single year, the Coast Guard and Border Protection intercepted an astonishing $10 billion worth of drugs on the way to America.
This is the most sophisticated tunnel that has ever been discovered along the border.
ICE enforcement and removal operations arrested 331 criminal aliens and immigration violators.
HSI arrested more than 1,200 from gangs across the U.S.
1,000 child victims were identified and rescued, with Homeland Security Investigations agents arresting nearly 3,000 child predators.
2 weeks since this large flooding left thousands of Houstonians underwater, FEMA has opened 4 disaster recovery centers in the hardest hit areas.
The U.S. Coast Guard came through with flying colors, rescuing 33,000 people.
To disrupt terrorist attacks, to make our borders more secure, respond to natural disasters, and make our immigration system more effective and fair. Addressing any one of these challenges is a tall order. Addressing all of them at once is a monumental task. But that's what the dedicated men and women of the Department of Homeland Security do every day.
So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff under the Department of Homeland Security, and they are very important to multiple things, not just terrorist attacks, but also when there's natural disasters. All right, and then this is all I can find on State Troopers.
The auto industry has made incredible advances in technology and safety of vehicles. But what if I told you there's a feature on every car that stands that not only will help prevent crashes, but also help prevent road rage? And let me show you. So if you look at your steering wheel here, to the left side of your steering wheel, there's this thing that comes out. It's pretty incredible. It's called a turn signal. If you push it down, let me show you what it does. It's amazing. With your car, it starts making a light flash. Now, if you push it down, it indicates that you're going to turn to the left. Not only on the front, let me show you what else it does. On the back of your car, it also flashes a light, indicating that you're going to turn left or make a lane change. Now, it does just the opposite if you the law not to use it, but it's the courteous thing to do. It's going to help people around you understand your indication that you're going to make a lane movement or make a turn. So please use your turn signal.
That was a funny video, wasn't it? Did y'all enjoy that? Okay. So there you go. Like I said, I don't have anything on the police departments. I couldn't really find anything good on those, and I couldn't really find anything on the sheriff's department. So that's basically that. So we went over basically all these except, like I said, the sheriff's department, and there wasn't one for police departments because sheriff deputies and police department are very similar, so they didn't want you to do double the work. Okay. So that is what we mainly had to do today. What I want you to do now is make sure you go and complete activity 5, which has everything to do with Gideon's Trumpet, the movie you should have watched. So you might have to look up some of the answers, which is I'm okay with that. But here's the main thing you need to make sure you're doing. You are not completing any of the highlighted ones. Does everyone hear that? So you're going to do 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Don't do anything that's highlighted. All right? Originally, the instructions were to do one thing that's highlighted and all the rest of them, so I made it a little bit easier. I didn't want you spending a long time on this because I think you kind of understand the concepts. Tomorrow, the announcements have not been opened yet, but you see I'm already getting planned for ahead of things. For tomorrow, we're going to go over the 1.02 notes, so just make sure you're prepared and ready to come to school to do the notes. That's really all I'm going to try to do tomorrow, because I don't know, I don't want to overwhelm you on the first couple of weeks. So that's the plan. Sound good? Okay, so for the rest of the class, you just need to be working on, oh wow, it's only 2:20. Okay, cool. Like I said, for the last 40 minutes, you're working on any assignments you have not done. You should have everything from 1 to 9 assignment-wise be done except for 6, 9, and we discussed the other one. Let's just go through real quick. Would that be good? Let's go through and make sure you know what you need to do. You should do 2, 3, the discussion board for 4, 5. You are not doing 6 if I'm not mistaken. Did I assign 6? Yes, I did. I assigned 6. I'm sorry. I can write it on the board here in a minute. 7 and 8 we did together, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we did 7 and 8. I don't know if y'all were here, but it's in the recordings if you want to go back and watch it. So basically, you're doing 1 through 6. Yes, 1 through 6. Is that good? Make sure you have assignments 1 through 6 in Canvas submitted by the end of the day. Cool? That's all you got to do today. So for Nick and Catherine, I'm going to log off. That's the main thing you need to know is that you're doing 1 through 6. And that's it. So any questions for me, people online? Y'all good? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Anything in the chat? Doesn't look like it. Alrighty. Well, I will see you guys later, and just make sure you're getting those assignments in.